I'm seeing relationship diversity expand as not only a theory or idea, but as a practice. I'm watching it free people to create relationships most in alignment with who they are. I'm experiencing people coming together with a common passion to create this new paradigm of conscious, intentional, and diverse relationships. It's truly an exciting time. Welcome to the Relationship Diversity Podcast, where we celebrate, question, and explore all aspects of relationship structure diversity, from soloamory to monogamy to polyamory and everything in between, because every relationship is as unique as you are. We'll bust through societal programming to break open and dissect everything we thought we knew about relationships, to ask the challenging but transformational questions: who am I, and what do I really want in my relationships? I'm your guide, Carrie Jaroslaw, best-selling author, speaker, intuitive, and coach. Join me as we reimagine all that our most intimate relationships can become. This is my 100th episode. This is such a big personal accomplishment. There were probably at least 50 times from conception to this moment that I wanted to stop for one reason or another. But my passion for this topic kept bringing me back to the moment, to my breath, to my desire to normalize diversity within intimate relationships. I love reflecting on the past to move intentionally into the future. I've been doing a lot of reflecting. So in this celebratory episode, I wanted to share how it started, how it's going, and where it might be headed. And because this is cause for celebration, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, giving away a session with me. Keep listening until the end to find out what kind of session I'm giving away and how to enter. I can remember very clearly sitting down to write and record my first episode. I intentionally loaded it into the system with 2 zeros in front of the 1, episode 001. At the time, I had no idea how I'd even get to a triple-digit episode. And there were many, many, many times when I even questioned if I would get to this moment. But my intention in starting this podcast, my why, always led me back to my microphone, hitting record and connecting with you, even through illnesses, challenges, my mom's passing, necessary travel, times of apathy, and just wondering what the hell I was doing. I still came back to my microphone and released an episode every single week. I felt so inspired by the idea of relationship diversity since the moment I first heard the term back in 2020. It really perfectly described my experience in relationships, the diversity that I've experienced in my 50-some years of being in this world and doing my best to follow my truth in every aspect of my life, as much as I was able to in any given moment. I describe relationship diversity as all the varied ways we relate to ourselves and others in our intimate relationships. And when I first had the idea to start a podcast back in late 2021, it took me almost a year to get to the point where I felt safe and as ready as possible to start releasing episodes. Not only did I need to learn some technical skills, which being a former theatrical director, I actually enjoyed, but I had to have conversations with a lot of people in my life in preparation for coming out in my podcast. And it took patience, many, many conversations, so much internal processing, and unwavering support from my partners, my family, and close friends to get to my starting point. Episode 001. What is relationship diversity, and could it really be the answer to fulfilling intimate relationships? I recently re-listened to that episode to see if it still holds up, if my message has remained consistent. It was a little cringy, to use my kids' vocabulary, to listen to the technical aspects and my overall clunkiness. The sound quality, the editing, the stuttering of words and ideas. But in the end, I got to witness how much I grew in this part of podcasting. I'm writer, editor, producer, and host, doing it all, and I have learned a lot and can hear a lot of improvement and growth. As for my message, it has remained consistent. The messages about knowing and embracing your uniqueness, questioning societal, cultural programming, designing your own unique relationship based on the needs and priorities of the unique people involved, taking the shoulds and the have-tos out of our relationships, honoring the reality that we are constantly evolving and how to incorporate that into our relationships. These ideas, these themes have been a through line from episode to episode. I've incorporated conversations with almost 50 incredible, inspiring thought leaders in many aspects of diverse, intimate relationships, expanding this conversation past my own little world and into more diverse experiences. The connections I've made with my guests have been very fulfilling on both a personal and a professional level. I love learning about these aspects of relationships that maybe I know very little about, or maybe I want to learn more, and really bringing in people who know so much more than me. I love leaning on their wisdom and learning from them so that I can expand who I am and how I show up in my relationships. I've explored and talked to thought leaders about so many aspects of relationship structure diversity and relationships in general. For relationship structures, I've explored soloamory, intentional monogamy, swinging, polyamory, open relationships, non-categorical relationships, non-monogamy, and even transcending relationship labels. I've also talked about aspects of relationships, including jealousy, compersion, communication, finding a resonant community, sensuality, sexuality, boundaries, play parties, BDSM and kink. And then I've talked about things that get in the way of experiencing fulfilling relationships, like generational relationship wounds, people-pleasing, inauthenticity struggles, struggling with self-love and self-worth. I've also spoke on themes pertaining to busting through social agendas and expectations, like breaking open myths of non-monogamy, looking at the shame we hold, rejection, fitting in, getting off of the relationship escalator, picking apart outdated metrics of relationship success. And then I've also done my best to provide education, relationship education, because we're never taught how to be in relationship, and yet we are in relationship with everyone and everything in the world. So in that area, I've talked about how to open up a relationship or shift a relationship structure, how to redesign a current relationship, how to acknowledge your needs and desires, how to find the gold in between the structures, how to navigate a breakup, and so much more. And through it all, one truth has come through time and time again. Everyone does relationships differently. Even when it looks like someone is practicing the same general structure as me, we all do it differently. Almost everything has been tried and practiced, and yet in a unique way, different from everyone else. There are also support groups for every single thing you can think about. There are people wanting to find community, wanting to connect and come together to release shame and live authentically in whatever structure or style or relationship that they feel resonates in any given chapter of their life. And just like any book, we, as the character of our life, we change, we evolve, we grow. We go through life learning and taking in more information and holding on to what resonates and leave what doesn't resonate. And through this process, I really want to normalize that it is very natural to change and evolve. And if we can learn how to stay present with our needs and communicate them lovingly to the people involved, taking responsibility for our own stuff along the way, our relationships do really have the potential to be so much more than we ever thought. This doesn't mean that there aren't challenging times filled with anxiety about having hard conversations, or times when your relationship feels uncomfortable and sticky, but with a commitment to knowing yourself, honoring yourself and your needs and desires, and creating that space for evolution. There is so much potential for the way we relate to ourselves and others. I really believe that for our civilization to evolve and thrive, we must learn how to celebrate our differences, how to come together in our differences. We must make an individual and collective conscious intention to have our differences unite us instead of divide us. I think that if we can do our own healing work, release shame, embrace our uniqueness, and live a life that resonates with our values, needs, priorities, and desires, then we have the potential to shift out of the divisiveness and into the unification, which will in turn create a more loving world. I do believe it's possible. Although there are moments, days, months where I lose hope, then I seem to connect with someone who inspires me and become hopeful again. If you've been part of this community, committed to exploring relationship diversity, I really want to thank you. If you're just joining us, I'm grateful to have you here as part of this conversation. And now for more information about the giveaway. If you have listened to many of my podcasts, you may have heard me talk about my energy work. Since 2002, I've been learning, practicing, and working with clients doing energetic work and providing guidance. We are energy and physical, body, mind, and spirit. So working on this level is often missed and yet really integral to our wholeness. After my own deep healing work, where I found an energy modality that got to all the nooks and crannies of my psyche and shifted my way of perceiving and living permanently, I chose to study, learn, and practice so I could facilitate the same kinds of experience for and with others. This work is powerful, and I've had client upon client tell me that one session alone has shifted some very deeply rooted beliefs. You can even go to my website, I'll link it in the show notes, to read testimonials. This kind of session is for someone who's open to trying something different, so please only enter if you're open to this exploration. In this hour-long session, we'll pinpoint one thing you're really wanting to shift, and then we'll do exactly that on the energetic level. So if this sounds interesting to you, the way to enter the drawing for 1 hour-long session with me is to rate and leave a review on either Apple Podcast or your podcast streaming service where you can leave reviews. Once you've posted it, take a screenshot and email it to me at love, L-O-V-E, @carriejaroslaw.com. I'll have that in the show notes. The deadline for this is May 31st, 2024. I'll choose the winner on June 1st and send an email to the person on Monday, June 3rd, 2024. If for some reason you're unable to leave a review on the podcast platform that you listen to, you can enter still by writing a few sentences or longer and email it to me at love@carriejaroslaw.com. And that way I will be able to use that review on my website. I'm asking for these reviews because they really help the podcast. It seems to be the way that Apple Podcasts likes to know what people want. And so leaving a review would be super helpful. And I also want to say that the winner will be picked at random. It's not going to be based on what you write. It is going to be picked purely at random. So anything you say, hopefully that is good, would be really helpful for me, and I really appreciate it. So, what does the future hold for this podcast and for relationship diversity? I'm excited to see how the next 100 episodes evolve. I'm excited to bring more people into the conversation. I love learning from people, whether it's an expert in a particular area or learning from someone's life experience. Each conversation and each solo episode where I do research helps me become a better person and a better person in my relationships. I hope that it helps you too. I'm seeing relationship diversity expand as not only a theory or idea, but as a practice. I'm watching it free people to create relationships most in alignment with who they are. I'm experiencing people coming together with a common passion to create this new paradigm of conscious, intentional, and diverse relationships. It's truly an exciting time. And here is my promise to you. I will keep showing up, keep speaking out for relationship diversity, keep connecting with insightful guests, keep educating myself, keep seeking the truth of what is really happening in our relationships. Keep normalizing that there is no one way to be in a relationship. And above all, keep exploring, visioning, and reimagining all that our most intimate relationships can become. I hope you'll join me and continue to stay curious in this adventure. Much love and gratitude. Thanks so much for listening to the Relationship Diversity Podcast. Want to learn more about relationship diversity? I've got a free guide I'd love to send you. Go to www.relationshipdiversitypodcast.com to get yours sent right to you. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast. You being here and participating in the conversation about relationship diversity is what helps us create a space of inclusivity and acceptance together. The more comfortable and normal it is to acknowledge the vast and varied relating we all do, the faster we'll shift to a paradigm of conscious, intentional, and diverse relationships. New episodes are released every Thursday. Stay connected with me through my YouTube channel, where I'll give you even more free resources and information all about relationship diversity. I'm super excited to go deeper into YouTube because I'll be able to connect and have conversations directly with you. You'll find the link in the show notes. Stay curious. Every relationship is as unique as you are.